Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, February 18th, 2019. Today I'm going to go over Saturday and yesterday's college hoops games, look ahead to tonight's games, go over the NBA All-Star festivities that took place yesterday and 2 days ago, NHL results from the last 2 days, look ahead to tonight's games, my MLB left fielder rankings, and my best bet of the day. Alright, to college hoops we go. We are just going to do scores because we are a bit short on time today. Number 6, Michigan defeats number 24, Maryland, 65-52. Number 8, North Carolina defeats Wake Forest, 95-57. Number 16, Louisville defeats Clemson, 56-55. Auburn defeats Vanderbilt, 64-53. Oklahoma defeats TCU, 71-62. Duquesne defeats George Washington, 85-69. Southern Illinois defeats Indiana State, 79-57. Holy Cross defeats Bucknell, 72-71. Green Bay defeats Detroit Mercy, 82-73. UMBC defeats UMass Lowell, 70-66. Stony Brook defeats New Hampshire, 66-64. Texas defeats Oklahoma State, 69-57. South Carolina defeats Texas A&M, 84-77. Number 4, Virginia defeats Notre Dame, 60-54. Number 15, Texas Tech defeats Baylor, 86-61. Number 17, Florida State defeats Georgia Tech, 69-47. Florida defeats Alabama, 71-53. Minnesota defeats Indiana, 84-63. Xavier defeats Providence, 75-61. Fordham defeats Rhode Island, 66-63. In overtime, that's what cost me best bet for Saturday. Towson defeats Drexel, 92-77. Ball State defeats Akron, 57-56. Old Dominion defeats Charlotte, 73-60. FAU defeats Rice, 60-41. FIU defeats North Texas, 69-59. Appalachian State defeats Coastal Carolina, 88-79. Marshall defeats Middle Tennessee, 98-93. LU Brooklyn defeats Sacred Heart, 92-84. Western Carolina defeats the Citadel, 103-82. Western Michigan defeats Miami of Ohio, 84-79 in overtime. Navy defeats Army, 79-68. Louisiana Tech defeats UTSA, 72-67. Longwood defeats South Carolina Upstate, 83-79 in overtime. UAB defeats Western Kentucky, 68-60. South Dakota defeats Western Illinois, 80-67. Drake defeats Valparaiso, 84-79. Tennessee Martin defeats SAU Edwardsville, 73-69. Southern Miss defeats UTEP, 77-47. Grand Canyon defeats Chicago State, 59. Ole Miss defeats Missouri, 75-65. Number 12, Purdue defeats Penn State, 76-64. Number 14, Kansas defeats West Virginia, 78-53. Number 23, Iowa State defeats number 18, Kansas State, 78-64. Great win for Iowa State. BYU defeats Loyola Marymount, 70-62. Charleston defeats Northeastern, 88-79 in overtime. Stetson defeats Florida Gulf Coast, 67-55. North Florida defeats NJIT, 64-63. VCU defeats Dayton, 69-68. North Carolina A&T defeats Howard, 85-81. Utah State defeats Air Force, 76-62. Abilene Christian defeats Incarnate Word, 68-48. Bethune-Cookman defeats South Carolina State, 98-73. Coppin State defeats Maryland Eastern, 58-55. Wagner defeats St. Mary's, 58-56. East Tennessee State defeats Mercer, 88-69. Colgate defeats Americans, 83-81 in overtime. St. Francis Brooklyn defeats Central Connecticut State, 90-79. Texas State defeats Little Rock, 67-60. Southeast Missouri State defeats Eastern Illinois, 88-79. Number 22, Virginia Tech defeats Pittsburgh, 70-64. Northwestern State defeats Stephen F. Austin, 87-72. Furman defeats VMI, 96-62. Lehigh defeats Boston University, 84-79. Fairleigh Dickinson defeats Bryant, 97-84. Presbyterian defeats Campbell, 76-71. Bowling Green defeats Northern Illinois, 87-67. Central Michigan defeats Ohio, 87-80. Liberty defeats North Alabama, 80-70. Lipscomb defeats Kennesaw State, 83-67. Austin Peay defeats Morehead State, 73-70. South Dakota State defeats North Dakota State, 78-77. That was on a buzzer beater. Southeast Louisiana defeats McNeese, 88-52. UNLV defeats San Jose State, 71-64. Gardner-Webb defeats Winthrop, 64-60. Samford defeats Chattanooga, 80-76 in overtime. Arkansas State defeats Texas Arlington, 83-79. Vermont defeats Hartford, 77-75. St. Louis defeats LaSalle, 62-49. Eastern Washington defeats Northern Colorado, 88-78 in overtime. New Orleans defeats Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 68-58. Mississippi Valley State defeats Alcorn State, 76-68. Omaha defeats Purdue Fort Wayne, 74-71. Lamar defeats Sam Houston State 75-72. Charleston Southern defeats Bradford 53-52. Number 2 Duke defeats NC State 94-68. Number 19 LSU defeats Georgia 83-79. Number 21 Iowa defeats Rutgers 71-69 on the buzzer beater 3. High Point defeats Hampton 86-81 in overtime. Texas Southern defeats Grambling 86-85. Alabama State defeats Alabama A&M 68-62. Youngstown State defeats UIC 81-73. UCF defeats Memphis 79-72. Temple defeats South Florida 70-69 in overtime. Florida A&M defeats Savannah State 78-74. Norfolk State defeats NC Central 75-71 in overtime. Prairie View defeats Jackson State 79-66. Wofford defeats UNC Greensboro 80-50. Wow. Cleveland State defeats IUPUI 89-86. Brown wins 65-63. St. Francis, Pennsylvania defeats Robert Morris 72-69. Yale defeats Cornell 98-92. Princeton defeats Dartmouth 69-68. Harvard defeats Penn 75-68 in overtime. Oakland defeats Milwaukee 89-73. Murray State defeats Eastern Kentucky 102-70. Fresno State defeats New Mexico 81-73. San Diego State defeats Boise State 71-65. Kent State defeats Eastern Michigan 71-58. UNC Wilmington defeats Hofstra 87-79. UMKC defeats CSU Bakersfield 75-67. William & Mary defeats Elon 84-74. Number 5 Kentucky defeats number 1 Tennessee 86-69. Utah Valley defeats Texas Rio Grande 76-64. USC defeats Cal 89-66. Washington defeats Washington State 72-70. James Madison defeats Delaware 68-61. Butler defeats DePaul 91-78. North Dakota defeats Oral Roberts 85-73. Bradley defeats Illinois State 65-59. Houston Baptist defeats Nichols 88-82. Jacksonville State defeats Tennessee State 84-65. Louisiana defeats UL Monroe 83-76. Arkansas Pine Bluff defeats Southern 61-45. Belmont defeats Tennessee Tech 93-65. Mississippi State defeats Arkansas 77-67. Nebraska defeats Northwestern 59-50. Santa Clara defeats Pacific 64-59. Weber State defeats Montana State 94-82. New Mexico State defeats Seattle 59-53. Montana defeats Idaho State 80-68. Number 3 Gonzaga defeats San Diego 79-67. Number 7 Nevada defeats Wyoming 82-49. Arizona State defeats Utah 98-87. Stanford defeats UCLA 104-80. UC Davis defeats Long Beach State 77-73. Cal State Fullerton defeats Cal State Northridge 78-71. San Francisco defeats Portland 68-63 in overtime. Portland State defeats Southern Utah 78-69. Northern Arizona defeats Sacramento State 78-66. Oregon State defeats Oregon 72-57. St. Mary's defeats Pepperdine 72-65. UC Irvine defeats UC Santa Barbara 83-70. And Hawaii defeats UC Riverside 87-64. Yesterday's results. Number 11 Michigan State defeats Ohio State 60-46. Cincinnati defeats Wichita State 72-62. Albany defeats Maine 63-54. Houston defeats Tulane 64-53. Lafayette defeats Loyola, Maryland 69-64. Tulsa defeats East Carolina 77-73 in overtime. St. Bonaventure defeats George Mason 79-56. Quinnipiac defeats Siena 107-100 in triple overtime. Manhattan defeats Canisius 70-65. Marist defeats Monmouth 75-67. Niagara defeats Fairfield 78-73. Rider defeats St. Peter 71-65. Seton Hall defeats Creighton 81-75. Missouri State defeats Loyola Chicago 65-61. Northern Iowa defeats Evansville 73-58. St. John's upsets number 13 Villanova 71-65 at Madison Square Garden. Great win for St. John's. Boston College defeats Miami 64-57, and Colorado defeats Arizona 67-60. Tonight's slate is very small. Love it due to the holiday. 7 o'clock ESPN, number 4 Virginia, and number 22 Virginia Tech. Virginia's laying 5. I think Virginia wins and covers. It's just tough to bet against Tony Bennett's team at this point when they're playing great basketball, with the 2 losses coming to Duke. Idaho at Eastern Washington on ESPNU. You have Alcorn State at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff's laying 8.5. I think 8.5 is a lot of points. I think Arkansas Pine Bluff wins, but Alcorn covers. CBS Sports Network, Boston University at Holy Cross. Holy Cross is laying 5. I think Holy Cross wins and covers. 7:30 Bethune-Cookman at Savannah State. Florida A&M at South Carolina State. North Carolina Central at Howard. 8 o'clock Fox Sports 1, Illinois, number 20, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's laying 10.5. They'll win and they'll cover. NCAT at Norfolk State. 8:30 Texas Southern at Jackson State. Southern at Mississippi Valley State. Prairie View at Grambling. 9 o'clock ESPN. Number 18 Kansas State at West Virginia. Kansas State's laying 6.5. Dean Wade might not play. So guess what? I'm taking the Mountaineers to pull off the home upset. So giving the Mountaineers to spoil a nice run by Kansas State a little bit with the injury due to Dean Wade. Mountaineers tend to get up for these home games. They upset Kansas earlier in the year. And I think they're going to pull off another one at home, upsetting the Wildcats. So give me the Mountaineers. And then TCU at Oklahoma State. TCU's laying 3.5. This is another trap game, but I trust TCU to win this one. They have no injuries of note right now, which hasn't really affected them, although they did just lose to Oklahoma. But I like TCU here on the road. I just don't think Oklahoma State's that good. I don't think West Virginia's that good either, but West Virginia at least has shown capability to upset people at home this year. So give me TCU on the road there. NBA All-Star Weekend was pretty fun. On Saturday, you had the skills competition that was won by Jason Tatum, who beat out Nikola Jokic, I believe, in the final. I'm sorry, it was Trae Young. But good for Jokic, Tatum. And then Young beat Luka Doncic in the semifinal, and then Tatum, I believe, beat Jokic, which got to that Young versus Tatum final, and then Tatum ended up winning. And then the 3-point contest, Joe Harris wins the final round. Stephen Curry comes in second place. And then Buddy Hield had a good competition. He came in third place. Danny Green did very well. He could have made the final, but he was barely beat out by Hield, Curry, and Harris. And good for Harris winning it. You got good odds on him at plus 750, I believe, was the final line for him. But for those of you that had him winning, good for you. And then the dunk contest, the winner was Hamidou Diallo, who dunked over Shaq. They put on a good show. The runner-up was Dennis Smith Jr. of the New York Knicks. And I was not enjoyed the dunk contest. There's too many missed dunks in there, and people getting scored for missed dunks, which I thought was stupid. But at least people are giving it a try. And then in the All-Star game last night, Team LeBron defeats Team Giannis 178-164. Kevin Durant was the MVP of the game with 31 points and 7 rebounds. Shot 6 from 9 from 3-point range. Giannis Antetokounmpo would have been the MVP if Team Giannis won. He had 38 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists. And shot 17 of 23 from the field. So, All-Star game, obviously the over-under was 315.5. And the over-hit. My pick to win this game would have been Team LeBron to win and cover, so I was correct on that. And NBA action doesn't return until Thursday, so we won't be discussing NBA unless if there's news that breaks within the next couple days. NHL. We go through Saturday and yesterday's results. The Flyers defeated the Red Wings 6-5. The Flames defeated the Penguins 5-4. The Blues defeated the Avalanche 3-0. The Lightning defeated the Canadiens 3-0. The Islanders defeated the Oilers 5-2. The Senators defeat the Jets 4-3 in overtime. The Coyotes defeated the Maple Leafs 2-0. The Hurricanes defeated the Stars 3-0. The Blue Jackets defeat the Blackhawks 5-2. The Golden Knights defeat the Predators 5-1. The Sharks defeated the Golden Knights 3-2, and the Bruins defeated the Kings 4-2. Yesterday's results: the Penguins defeated the Rangers 6-5 on NBC. The other NBC game, the Blues defeated the Wild 4-0. The Devils defeated the Sabres 4-1. The NBCSN game, the Flyers defeated the Red Wings 3-1. The Panthers defeated the Canadiens 6-3. The Ducks defeated the Capitals 5-2. Tonight's slate: at 4 o'clock, you have the Coyotes at the Flames, so a late afternoon game for President's Day. On NBCSN at 7:30, you have the Lightning at the Blue Jackets. Big game for Columbus. And there's obviously a lot of turmoil going on with the uncertain futures of Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky. I think that's been a shadow hanging over this team. That was a good win in Chicago on Saturday night against Panarin's former team. But I think there's going to be distractions abound, and you're going to hear the Lightning in play for Panarin, because the Lightning always are a team that's willing to try to do anything. It's going to be Tampa Bay to win by multiple goals on the road in Columbus. 8:30, the Senators at the Blackhawks. 9 o'clock, the Golden Knights at the Avalanche. 10 o'clock, NBCSN, the Bruins at the Sharks. I love the Sharks at home. They're just a better team than the Bruins. They have similar records, but I just don't see the Sharks losing at home again to a good team from the East. That was a bad loss against Washington, and I know the Sharks want to be the 1 seed in the Western Conference, so I like them here at home to win. And then at 10:30, you have the Capitals at the Kings. Now I'm going to do my left fielder rankings as we inch closer to the baseball season. There are a total of 35 players on this list. I'm sorry, 36. And without further ado, I'm going to go from 36 to 1 and rattle off the outfielders, or left fielders in order. 36, Austin Slater of the San Francisco Giants. 35, Mickey Matoke of the Detroit Tigers. Number 34, Austin Dean of the Miami Marlins. Number 33, Nick Martini of the Oakland Athletics. These are just unproven guys. 32, Greg Allen of the Cleveland Indians. Projected to start the season in left field for them. Number 31, Chad Pinder of the Oakland Athletics. Number 30, Ian Desmond of the Colorado Rockies. 29, Billy McKinney of the Toronto Blue Jays. 28, Brett Gardner of the New York Yankees. 27, Alex Gordon of the Kansas City Royals. 26, Trey Mancini of the Baltimore Orioles. 25, Jesse Winker of the Cincinnati Reds. 24, Domingo Santana of the Seattle Mariners. I'm sorry, make the Domingo Santana 23, Winker 24, Mancini 25, Gordon 26, Gardner 27, McKinney 28, Desmond 29, Pinder 30, Allen 31, Martini 32, Dean 33, Matoke 34, and Slater 35. I had 35 on the list, but I accidentally put down right fielder on the left fielder list. So that's what made me bump the numbers down a little bit. Number 22, Daniel Palka of the Chicago White Sox. 21, Corey Dickerson of the Pittsburgh Pirates. 20, Alex Verdugo of the Los Angeles Dodgers. 19, David Peralta of the Arizona Diamondbacks. 18, Eddie Rosario of the Minnesota Twins. 17, Will Myers of the San Diego Padres. 16, Matt Kemp of the Cincinnati Reds. 15, Enrique Hernandez of the Los Angeles Dodgers. 14, Marvin Gonzalez, who's a free agent still. 13, Tommy Pham of the Tampa Bay Rays. 12, Andrew McCutchen of the Philadelphia Phillies. 11, Kyle Schwarber of the Chicago Cubs. 10, Joey Gallo of the Texas Rangers. 9, Michael Brantley of the Houston Astros. 8, Justin Upton of the Los Angeles Angels. 7, Michael Conforto of the New York Mets. 6, Marcell Ozuna of the St. Louis Cardinals. 5, Andrew Benintendi of the Boston Red Sox. 4, Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals. 3, Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees. I think you'll see a lot of time in left field because I think they're going to maneuver their DH position a little bit differently this year. 2, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. And number 1, your reigning National League MVP, Christian Yelich, Milwaukee Brewers. Acuna had a strong argument for me for number one, but I think it'd be a little bit of a mistake to not go with the reigning National League MVP in Yelich, who had the year of his life last year, who I think was no fluke, and I think this is the guy who he is, but who knows, maybe I'm proven wrong, and Acuna makes the big jump and has a better year this season than Yelich did last season, but hey, you never know. I took Yelich ahead of Acuna. Now my best bet brought to you by DraftKings. Saturday's best bet was cost by Rhode Island losing at home to Fordham. I have 7 teams on there. Plus 13.66 to pay out $27.57, wagering $1.88. 2 college basketball teams and 5 NHL. Eastern Washington and Wisconsin. And in NHL, the Flames, the Lightning, the Blackhawks, the Sharks, and the Capitals. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping college basketball and NHL. Look ahead to tomorrow's slate in both of those games. I'll talk a little center field rankings. We'll maybe talk a little Daytona 500 because we didn't get to that today, didn't have time. And obviously my best bet of tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.